What's up everyone? Justin from Make Supply here, and in today's build along tutorial we will be making a mini trucker wallet. This template is a free PDF download if you want to print this out at home and follow along. There is a link to our blog in the description below where you can go ahead and print it out in letter size paper or in A4 paper. It is also available as a, here's the PDF printout. It is also available as a laser ready file if you have a laser cutter and you want to cut it out of leather or make your own template. That's available for purchase in our store, as well as an acrylic version as always. And the acrylic version comes with 2 already sized zippers that you would need to complete this wallet. Okay, so we will get started with inventory. All right, let's do inventory for this project. I feel like a broken record by now, but if you have not seen any of my videos before, I'll go a quick run over of all the tools I use. I try to use pretty basic hand tools, stuff that you can easily buy online. And if I have to use something more fancy, I will show you where to get it. Okay, so for now, I'm going to just move the templates off to the side for a moment, and we'll discuss those in a second. And start with our tools. Just a cork back ruler, number 2 X-Acto knife, CS Osborne scratch awl, a wing divider for marking our stitching line, 2 diamond stitching chisels, Saiwa brand, some tiger thread, 0.8 millimeter in the color cigar, a generic Amazon mallet. Get to that in a second. Some barge cement, a edge beveler, some thread nippers, some gum tragacanth for burnishing edges, a rotary tool for punching the holes for our snaps, some line 20, 24, I forget. I'll mark it in the video. Some brass snaps. You're gonna need 2 of them. A wood slicker for burnishing edges, some sandpaper for cleaning up edges, some canvas cloth optional for burnishing edges. And what was I missing? It's hard to see on the camera here, but this is a snap setting machine. You can use the hand tools if you want. I will link to this also to the hand tool alternative. And the other item you will need is a 4-inch zipper. So you can get a finished zipper, which is 4 inches from the zip end to end, not the entire tape. I'll link where I get these exact ones at and this exact model from a place on Etsy if you want to use them. Otherwise, you can use your own zipper. And then I have a marble slab I'll bring over when it's time for stitching to punch the holes, and also just this cutting mat here. Okay, so let me clear this off and we will look at the templates. All right, let's take a look at the template and also the leather I'll be using. So as I mentioned in the introduction, this is a free template download, so go ahead and find the link to the printout on our website, which is linked below. It'll come out in a PDF that'll look something like this. I'm probably going to add some extra words to this before I put it up for good. Please make sure to print at 100% scale. Always check your scale before printing out. You don't want to start making it when it's not the correct proportions. Okay, so this one will come out in 2 pages. A little glary here, but let's see if we can get this to show. The first page will be the zipper compartment, and the second page will be the inside and outside panels. These are, as you notice, the same exact size, except for one. You will be cutting out this middle and attaching some parts to it. Okay, this is also available in a couple other formats. So it is available as a laser-ready download, where you can go to the website if you have a laser cutter, or if you want to send this file to a die manufacturer, or if you want to make modifications to the source of this design. That is available in 3 different formats. I'll send you as a Adobe Illustrator file, an SVG file, and a EPS file. So that's good. You know, if you want to run your own templates, you can, and you have a laser cutter, you can just pop them in there and get those going. And we also have it as a acrylic template set. It'll be a 2-piece template set. All the stitching holes are marked. All the attachment areas are marked. And the acrylic template set will also come with 2 4-inch zippers to get you started. Okay, so the leather I'll be using is some 3 to 4 ounce Wicked & Craig Buck Brown harness leather. This project's pretty flexible with the thickness leather. I wouldn't do much more than 5 ounce for all around, but if you have maybe a lighter leather for the interior zipper and a heavier leather for the outside, that would be fine. But I always find that 3 to 4 ounce is a good all-around weight, and it's usually what I use to base all of my projects on. So that's what we'll be using for this project. Okay, so let's get started by cutting out our PDF. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut out our templates here. I'm going to start with the first page, which is the zipper panel. You're going to want to cut out the zipper section where it says cut out, and then cut all the way around the outside. All right, first piece down. Second one, technically you don't have to cut this one out, but if you're just going to be using cardstock paper like this, I would suggest it, just because when you cut this section out, it's going to weaken the edges a little bit. And when you're tracing, it's just good to have a nice solid piece. So just take the extra minute and cut out both of these, even though they are the same piece. So I'm going to start with cutting out the section that says cut out. All right, cut the middle out. And now cut around the outside. Just make sure to keep some good pressure on these edges. It's paper, it'll bend. Number 2. And just for good measure, I'll cut out the last piece. All right, all 3 pieces cut out. All right, next I'm going to grab the leather and we will start tracing. Okay, so I just cut down a little piece of that leather to work on here, just to save some space. See our 3 pieces fitting on there. Okay, so now you're going to want to go ahead and mark your holes. Mark your inside sections that need to be cut out for the zipper here and for the storage area here. And also, if you're going to be marking the stitching holes, do that now. If it helps, you can tape, use some low-tack tape and tape the template down, and it's easier to poke your holes so it doesn't slide around as much. But I'm not going to be using the stitching holes for this. I will be using the snap holes and the attach pad, is what I call it here. So this is how the zipper compartment is going to attach to the inside panel. It'll make more sense once we start doing it, but you're going to want to go ahead and at least mark the 4 corners on each of these, because those are going to need to line up. All right, so in typical myself fashion, I'm going to use the acrylic just to go faster. And if you're using the acrylic, you'll notice obviously there's only two templates. You're going to trace the outside. This is the template for both, okay? So snap hole, marking the 4 corners of the attach pad, and then tracing the cutout section in the middle. And around the outside. All right, there's our first piece. Second, so now I'm just going to be tracing this for the outside. So I don't want to mark anything on the attach pad, and I don't want to mark the cutout section in the middle, just around the outside and the snap holes. Okay, just like that. 2 down, 1 to go. Now zipper compartment, same thing. Do the zipper cutout, 2 snap holes, 4 corners of the attach pad, and all the way around. Okay, so that is all 3, and you're going to go ahead and start cutting it out. Zipper compartment. Outside. Get a little tricky down in that corner there. Just do your best. I might even take my pliers here my rotary punch, and just punch a little circle. Just that dissipates the tension in that corner. All right. Finished cutting out all of our pieces. So now I'm just going to give a quick overview of how these things go together. So this project isn't tough, it's just you have to follow the order of operations, otherwise it's not going to work. So the first thing we're going to do is put our zipper, after we burnish some of this, is put our zipper into the zipper section, just like that, and stitch that down. So then our zipper section, or our zipper will be attached to our zipper pouch. So when that's attached, next we have to attach our zipper pouch upside down to our inside panel. So then this folds, get the idea, like that, and then these two pieces are attached. And then from there, we will be attaching to the outside panel. And then we're good to go. Okay, so first step, we'll be messing with this thing. I'm going to lightly sand. It's kind of hard to get into here with a regular piece of sandpaper, but try our best. The inside, I had some pretty clean cuts, so it's not too bad. If you want to go over that with an edge beveler, you can. And then you can take your gum trag and put a little bit on the edge there. And give it a little burnish. Okay. Like I do with most videos, I'm not going to get into all the nooks and crannies on burnishing. Just want to show that's what you should be doing at that point. Okay, so now I'm going to take my wing divider and mark a stitching line about 1/8 of an inch around the inside, or around the outside of the zipper pouch cutout. I think it's easier to do it now than when you put the zipper in. Okay, just like that. And so now we just want to make sure that we're lining up how you want it. So the two snap holes, that section will be the front. So if you want your zipper on the right-hand side, you're going to put it in like this. Just make sure it's how you want it. And now I'm going to grab my barge cement. And put a little bit of cement around the inside of that zipper section. You don't want to use too much because then it starts doing stuff like that, and then it squeezes out when you put the zipper in. It doesn't look good. So I'm not going to put extra on. You're supposed to put it on both surfaces, but I'm really just using this to get the stick down for stitching. So I'm just going to put a little bit extra on the leather and then just pop it onto the zipper. Okay. Make sure your zipper is nice and straight, and pop that in there. Definitely adjust it, make sure it's directly, dead center on the zipper tape. Or as close as you can get it, really. And then I'm just gonna push down. Okay, and you can see our zipper is nice and centered, just how we want it. I'm going to let it dry for a minute, and then we're going to, trim off these edges here. You don't need this. And then we will attach to our panel. All right, so I'll let that dry for a minute. Now, I'm going to get whatever you're using for stitching. I'm going to use these diamond chisels, and we're going to mark our holes with hand pressure all the way around the zipper. I like to start from kind of like the back middle here, or the bottom middle. Okay, so I marked my holes. I'm going to go ahead and punch this off camera. I'll move the slab over here when we do the more complicated parts, but this is pretty straightforward. Just punch all your holes through. I'm going to stitch it up, and then we will come back and look. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched the zipper into the zipper slot. So I'm going to go ahead and trim my thread. And here's where you can cut off your extra zipper tape. All right. So the next part we're going to do is add our bottom parts of our snaps, here and here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab snap setter. Like I said, you can use the hand tool for snaps, whatever you have, it doesn't matter. And let me find my rotary. And go ahead and punch the hole. And on the other side. Where's the other one? Okay, let me get this thing out of the way. Now we have our snapped bottoms set. Okay, so now it is time to attach this to the panel. First thing I'm going to do though is mark my stitching line on the zipper pouch at this point because it's way easier than once it's attached here. Okay? So go ahead and I'm not going to be stitching all the way around, so I'm just going to select somewhere around right here. Again, I'm marking about an 1/8 inch. And same on the other side. Although this side won't matter because you won't see it, but for good measure. Okay, just like that. So as you can see, when we fold it over, it'll look like this. All right. So remember when we marked those 4 marks, the attach pad? So now this is where this is going to come into play. We're going to stitch it, but you can just rivet this if you want. If anybody watched my money clip video, there was a similar step where I just literally I would put 2 rivets here and you'd be done. And then it's going to be firmly attached to the panel. It's not going to go anywhere, but we'll stitch it. But first I'm going to glue it. So I'm going to go inside of these 4 hole marks that I made and just rough up the leather, just like this with my scratch awl. Just a little pad like that. Same thing on the other one. Just like that. Okay. So if you really want, you can push through, just so it shows up on the other side of the zipper pouch, because that's the side you're going to be stitching through. We're going to be attaching it like this. We're going to glue it, and then we're going to stitch right here. Okay? You know what? I'm actually going to mark my stitching line on the inside panel here before this is on here. Again, you don't need to do this, but I just find it easier to deal with. something like that. Okay, so now let's get back to business here. I am going to grab my glue and smear on that pad area. Just like that. Same thing on this side. Okay, so let that sit for a minute. Now, I'm just going to carefully flip it over and line it up. So the good thing about this is the exact same design as this one. So just flip it over. Actually, we'll do it this way. It makes more sense. Actually, this way is easier. Sorry, just kind of thinking out loud. So I'm just going to flip this over like this. And just line up the edges nice and straight, and then push down on the pad. If you want to, you can turn it over like this, and you can see how this is going to form. Okay? So just keep some pressure on that pad for a moment so the glue stays down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let this dry for a minute, then we're going to come back and mark a line of stitching holes on that. All right, let that dry for a little bit there. Grab my granite slab. And now you have a couple options here. Basically, you just need to attach these two items together. You can do it either way you want here. So you can, like I said, you can put a rivet or two in here. That's fine. You could stitch around this entire box. You can do two short lines. I suggest, if you're going to do just two short lines, to do them horizontally, parallel to the width of the wallet. What I'm going to do is just do like a little X pattern from corner to corner. So just like this. It's kind of freehanding. See that? I don't know if you can see that. But it's a little X. All right, now I'm just going to punch the holes through. Ow, I just smashed my knuckle. Pay attention. Don't look at cameras while you're punching. Ouch. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and grab some thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch the little X pattern there, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched my little X pattern there. And now I'm going to cut this off. And you can see that our zipper panel and our inside panel are now connected. Just like that. Okay, so as you can imagine, the next part will be to close the zipper pouch with glue and then stitch it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is mark my stitching holes now. I think it's just easier to do as opposed to when everything is glued down. So I'm just going to anchor the piece like that, and I'm just going to find somewhere, just the front, just the front flap, and just start walking down the line here. All right, that looks good. That just gives me a target when everything's put together. See there? So now I'm going to go ahead and grab my cement. Should clean this off a little bit here. Okay. And you're just gluing the zipper pouch closed. Don't glue the back of the zipper pouch to the panel, just the zipper pouch, the inside. All right, let that dry for a second. Once you've let it dry for a minute, now it's time to fold it down and line up the edges, nice and clean. If you have some binder clips to hold this down, that's a good idea. There is some movement in here, so you can just walk around the edge with your fingers and make sure everything's nice and straight. Okay. So now we have this glued down. I'm going to let it dry for a minute, and then we'll come back and punch our holes. Okay, so that dried for a minute. Now we are ready to punch our holes. So, as you can imagine, you don't want to punch through this and then punch through the panel on the back here. That's no good. So, you're going to have to maneuver. The best thing to do is to hang off, like say you have a marble slab like I do here. Hang off the edge and then just place, I know it's hard to see on the camera, but I'm moving this thing out of the way, and I'm just placing the zipper pouch edge on the edge of the slab like this, and then I'm just going to walk around the edge like that. That way I'm nowhere close to this. If you can't do that, just stack up a bunch of scrap leather in between, just like that, and then just lightly go through. Just make sure you're not pounding hard and then damaging the back, okay? Either of those options works. Just take your time and be careful with it. Just like that. Sorry about my hand being in the way. I can't figure out a way to do this from this angle. The best part about using awl instead of chisels like this is this is no problem when you're just using a standard awl. Okay, let's check it out. So there's all of our stitching holes. And coming out the back, and as you can see, we did not mark up this part. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stitch this, and then we will come back. Okay, finished stitching up the zipper pouch part. cut off this thread here. And that part is complete. So now we are going to connect the inner panel to the outer panel, just like that, and add our snaps. So if you would like to burnish the inside track here, now is the time to do it. Same with this piece. And if you want, you can sand and burnish and bevel the zipper pouch. I'm going to wait to the very end to do that part when I do everything together. I'm not going to do this part right now. I'm kind of racing against daylight again. I don't know why I wait so long to start these videos. So what I'm going to do now is glue this piece onto the back piece like that. And want to just make sure, where you marked your snap holes, line up to the top, just like this. This should be an easy glue because everything is the same dimension, the front and the back, okay? So let's do it. All right, that's part one. Okay, let's line these guys up here. All right, that's the top. I'm going to lay the outside panel down. It's just the easier way to do it. And then plop this guy on here. And work your way around the perimeter, lining it up. No, I did not do a good job there. Okay. Went ahead and attached the outer shell. Now I'm going to let it dry for a second and then come back. All right, gave it a minute to do its thing. Now I'm just going to take some sandpaper and lightly go over the edge just to straighten it up. Make sure everything's nice and even for stitching. If you have a Dremel tool, it's way better for this right now. Okay, that's good enough. So we're gonna wait to do the snaps last. So now we have to put down our stitching line. And now, time to punch stitching holes. So, as you can imagine, this is gonna get in the way. You gotta do the same thing you did when you did the zipper pouch. You just gotta maneuver around, and it's a little bit hard to bend this. So what I'm probably gonna do is grab some extra leather here. And what I'm gonna do is sandwich this between the pouch and the bottom, and the zipper pouch. Yeah, the zipper pouch and the top. That way, it's just easier to maneuver. It's hard to bend this part to hang off the edge. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'll start down in the corner here, down in the bottom corner, and just go with hand pressure first. Okay, some hand pressure. Now let's punch. It's a little pain going over the zipper part, but once you get past the zipper, it's not too big of a deal. Obviously, the top part here, anywhere outside of the bottom of the zipper is where you really want to make it count, keeping your stitching nice and straight. I kind of messed up here, but that was my fault because I wasn't paying attention. So now I'm just going to try to keep this nice and even. All right. So that was fun, I suppose. I messed up over here and a little bit over here. So when you're moving around this section here, this folded, just take your time. It's actually easier to use the 2-prong because you just need less pressure, and just walk yourself through that section, and don't try to force it. Otherwise, you'll go off track like I did. Okay, so got all of our holes. I'm going to go ahead and stitch this, and then we will come back and look at it. Okay, just finished stitching all the way around. Cut this thread off. All right. So now the last step will be to put the snaps on. Bring my trusty snap setter. I gotta swap out the pieces here. Go ahead and grab my rotary tool and punch through. Okay, got my top pieces, my caps, and then whatever these things are called. Just dropping them on the ground. Oops. That is not a stable surface. All right, and that just about wraps it up. We've always got to do our edges and then we're done. So let me just test out the closing here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now all we have to do is finish our edges. So like I mentioned before, we have to do the zipper pouch and the outside. Just going to sand first. You can kind of sand at the same time since they're at the same level. good enough for now. Now we have to find our edge beveler. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around on both sides. Find the gum trag. I'll start with the zipper pouch. And now the outside. Hey, sorry about that. The video cut off there. My battery is about to die on this camera, so all I did was finish going around burnishing the edges there. And at this point, we are done. And now you can check out your new mini trucker wallet. Grab some change for the change pooch. And then you can put some folded cash in the inside panel there. And as you can see, it's designed so you can actually fold this out a lot easier than if it was attached here. This gives you a little bit of room to move around and get some stuff out. All right. And that will conclude the build along tutorial for this mini trucker wallet. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks for watching.